I'm Monica and we're in Perfect Balance Wellbeing in Russell Square. I'm going to be talking to you today about coming back to training after you injured your ankle or your foot. So here in Russell Square we work with plenty of clients who are just at the final stages of their rehab or have already finished their rehab and they're really eager to go back to running or playing sports, that being tennis or football. And we help them structure their journey so they can get there more efficiently and safely, most importantly. So we normally see two types of clients when it comes to post-rehab training. The ones that are super eager to go back to training and very often jump straight back to the same intensity that they were before the injury, or the ones that are really cautious, quite scared and really reasonably anxious about getting injured again or getting the area more sensitive, and they take too long to go back or try to play it too safe and prolonging the period, prolonging the time before they can go back to doing what they really love. So today I'm going to show you step by step how to plan your way back to training. So the very first thing that we would do in here is to assess the strength of the injured area, that being in this case your foot or your ankle. Now I'm not going to show you every single one of the assessments, but one of the ones that you could do at home is the single leg calf raise. And it's quite simple. The only thing you might need is another person to help you see the difference between your right and your left on the injured and non-injured area. The way you would do it is you find a wall or any area of surface that you can hold on to for extra balance. I normally tend to put two fingers, not to put too much weight through the whole hand on the wall. And then standing on one leg, keeping it straight, you're trying to come onto your toes as high as you can, lower it down and bring it back up again. Now we normally tend to use 20 as an indicator of a really good strong calf and fully flexible ankle. The problem with that, and that's why it's quite important to have another person helping you, is that we want to see every single one of those repetitions coming all the way up. Meaning that the moment you can't come any higher, that's when you need to stop counting. If you can do both sides at the same intensity, that's a great indicator of the injured and non-injured area being balanced. What we normally see, unfortunately, and that tends to be 50-50, we will see either the injured area being weaker or less flexible, or actually stronger, because if you have gone through your rehab properly, you're more likely to actually have that area stronger and more flexible. So it's very important that we pinpoint those differences before we get you to do anything bigger and more intense on the gym floor, to avoid risking any injury relapse or actually injuring the other side. So that's the first thing that we would assess. The second thing is the imbalance between the sides and the biggest. One of the ways to assess the imbalance between your injured and non-injured side would be a simple squat, a simple bodyweight squat. So very often, post-injury, what we tend to see is a tendency to lean to the side that wasn't injured. Now, if you imagine going for weeks or sometimes months of consciously and subconsciously avoiding the area that's injured, avoiding putting pressure, the load, carrying your bags, carrying your whole body weight on the opposite side, you don't even realize how much more impact it has on this side that isn't injured. That side becomes very often stronger, sometimes even larger. The side that is injured tends to become less flexible and most importantly weaker. So in a large movement like squat, we'll very often see a little tilt to one side. And that can indicate various things. Then we will perform further tests to see whether that is a hip weakness, a glute weakness, or whether there's a flexibility issue. But it's very important to see how your body performs those functional movements to avoid putting too much too soon. The third thing that's also very beneficial to assess is your balance. So your mind-body coordination is really important to see whether that has changed and the injury has impacted it. So you can start very simply by just lifting one leg, same on the other side, seeing how does that feel and whether there's a bit more wobble on one end or the other. If that feels quite okay, you can come up on your toes. That makes it more challenging. Or if you want to push it even further, you can start kicking the leg back, then bringing it in, and see how well you can balance on that leg. Okay? You perform the same on the other side, and unless you have someone who can help you with the visual assessment, you need to count on the way it feels and how steady you feel on your feet. So once all the assessments are done and you're ready to come back to training, one of the biggest tips that I can give you right now is to plan your training. Okay, don't leave it to the moment when you go into the gym and wander around and see kind of, oh, maybe I'll use this machine, maybe I'll go for a run. Have a clear structure of what you're doing, and that will guarantee a faster progression. So the first thing, the first few weeks, what you want to concentrate on is balancing out any muscular weaknesses. So after your assessment, you should have a good indication whether one side is stronger, maybe the front became stronger, the back of your legs are becoming weaker. All of those things, and now is the time for you to improve its strength. So most likely you're going to start doing quite a lot of isolated movements, single-sided movements like single-sided squats. You might be able to help yourself with the TRX, but most importantly, try to balance out that strength on either of the sides. After that, you also need to remember flexibility, equally as important. If one side became tighter, work on that as well, and you'll be able to progress sooner. Now, in terms of the progression, that's another key part. Once you're ready to progress, do not stay in that recovery phase for too long, because you're just prolonging the time before you go back to doing what you love. After you start feeling less of an imbalance between your right and left, it's time to move on. It's time to add more compound movement, bigger movement, more challenging weights, and get your strength training to that next level. Then after you stay here for the next few weeks, remember you can always make the exercises more challenging, you can increase the volume. It's time to add plyometrics and agility work. If you want to know more about agility work, look at our previous videos dedicated to agility. Both plyometrics and agility will have a huge impact on how quickly can you move on to your ultimate goal of going back to running or playing sports. Moreover, it can actually make those things more efficient and make you perform better. So it's a really crucial part of the training and should never be skipped. Just remember, it doesn't matter what part of your training you're in, it's really important you listen to your body. When you recover from an injury, when you embark on a new training plan, you very often get some minor pains. You might feel a bit stiff around the injured area or on the other side. Don't be scared. If it isn't a sharp, worsening pain, but a pain that just indicates an area working, a muscular pain, it most likely is just a muscle that's being worked, and the muscle, the fibers are being broken down and rebuilding for you to get stronger. Obviously, if it does worry you, or if you feel a bit unease, or if it doesn't get better after a couple of days, it never hurts to see your physician, to consult it with them. But most likely it is just a natural process of your recovery, so don't be scared, trust the process and stick with it. So hopefully it does put your mind at ease, and it's given you a bit of an insight and structure to your training plan post-recovery. If you have any comments or any feedback, please leave them in the comment section below, or message us directly and we'll soon reply to you, or we'll reply to you as soon as possible. Now, if you feel like this is a bit too much, a bit overwhelming, but you're still really eager to get back to doing what you love, just reach out to us and one of our trained professionals will be more than happy to help you and guide you through the journey. That's it for now. Thank you very much.